Hello and welcome. This is Andy Davis with the Clatsop County Democratic Central Committee, and I'm here with Melissa Bush, candidate for Senate District 16 in this year's primary. Melissa is joining us to answer a few questions so that we can get to know her better. Melissa, thank you first for joining us, and thank you for running for office and putting the work in to try and make our district and state better.
Thank you. I really appreciate you all having me and taking the time to learn a little bit more about my campaign.
Yeah. So we've got three basic questions, and I'll just get started right away. Which the first one is, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what kind of experiences and expertise you bring to the table for the position?
Absolutely. My name is Melissa Bush. I'm running for State Senate District 16, and my professional background is as a nurse. I am a home health nurse in Columbia County, and what that really means is that I travel throughout the district in rural parts of the county, as well as some of our neighboring areas in rural Washington County and Multnomah counties as well. And I visit people in their homes, spend time with them in terms of their individual care needs. But a lot of what I do is helping to address access to healthcare that a lot of the people that I see struggle to get access to, partly because of the geography of the district and just being far away from services, but oftentimes because of difficulty leaving their homes and oftentimes a real lack of resources. I'm also a mother of 3 school-aged children. My kids are 8.5, almost 9, and 10.5 and 17. I started thinking about running for public office and specifically for the state legislature about 5 years ago. And it's really because of the work that I do in the community, the things that I see as I visit people in their homes and the struggles that so many working families are experiencing, the struggles accessing affordable health care, prescription medications, but also a lot of the other things that really impact the health and well-being of our communities, including the economic well-being of our communities. So things like housing, childcare, elder care, education. These are all things that really play into the daily well-being of our communities. And I just see so many folks struggling with those things. And so it made me feel like, the work that I can do as a nurse only goes so far, that we have other issues that are policy related that I can't solve at the bedside or the kitchen table. They need to be solved at a policy level in Salem. And so I decided to put myself out there. I applied for the Emerge training program, which is a national program with a state chapter here in Oregon that specifically helps women that are registered Democrats to run for public office of all levels. And so I applied for that program and went through Emerge in 2020 during the pandemic. And then about a year later, I went through the Oregon Labor Candidate School program, which is a similar program, but specifically for folks like myself who are union members and are interested in running a labor campaign. So I have taken the knowledge that I've learned in both of those settings, as well as some of the work that I have done in the nonprofit sector on various boards of directors and work that I've done in the community to start this campaign. And I'm really excited to be here and excited to go to bat for our communities.
Great, thank you, Melissa. And so you've touched on some of these points, I'm sure, but why are you running for the position, and what kind of things do you want to accomplish in office?
So yes, I did touch briefly in the last response about sort of my why in terms of the specifics around my experience and why it's motivated me to run for this office specifically. That said, the things that I think need to be addressed again are oftentimes decisions that are made at the state level, so made in our legislature. And what I really want to focus on is healthcare. I think that it is essential. I think it is a human right. I think that it's unacceptable that we have any member of our community that has limited or no access to care. And I think that's a problem that must be solved because it impacts not just the individual who doesn't have care, but it impacts all of our community. It impacts our economy. And it's really kind of a stain on us to not have a state where we are able to provide those essential services to every member of our community. That said, again, I know that healthcare incorporates so many other things. And so I think it's really important that people have access to go to a hospital or get specialized care or get prescription medications. And I also think it's really important that we're addressing some of the fundamental things that people need to be healthy and thriving members of our community. Housing is critical. I am hearing from every corner of our district that housing continues to be a sort of an impossible thing for many working folks to navigate, much less individuals that are houseless. We need more housing. We need housing for people that have good jobs, but are just simply priced out of the market. So workforce housing. We need affordable housing for people that are on low or fixed incomes. And we need housing solutions for people that are not housed, period. In addition to that, we need more childcare and we need more elder care. Those are things that impact people's health and well-being because oftentimes people are making impossible choices about whether they stay home with their children or they take care of their aging mother or even take care of themselves versus going to work or doing the other things that they might need to do to participate in our community and in our society. Schools are also a huge priority for me, and I think something that we need to be investing in a really solid way at the state level. And I don't mean on a year-to-year basis or a biennium. We need long-term solutions for investment in our schools, including investment in career tech programs and apprenticeship programs, so that we can be actively creating good family wage jobs and also creating opportunity to really grow new sectors of our economy. And lastly, I think that it's really important that whoever is our next senator is actively advocating for increased funding for our district specifically and for rural communities in general. We are in dire needs of investment in infrastructure. And I don't just mean our roads, although that is a huge one. Everything from roads to our water systems, to broadband, to schools and housing and childcare and elder care. These are all things that take money, and our counties in the district just can't do it without state support. So we need a really strong voice in the legislature to make that case and to be bringing those funds to our district.
Thank you, Melissa.
Absolutely.
And then my last question here is, in the past 4 years, what do you think the legislature could have done better? What might you have changed?
I think the legislature has done lots of great things. So I don't want to disparage their work. And I know it's hard work that takes a lot of time and energy and dedication and sacrifice. I would like to see more willingness for people to stand by their values while also showing up to work. I've been very disappointed that there has been some members of our legislature that have used an argument of morals or disagreements to validate or justify shutting down the work of our legislature entirely. And I think that is not acceptable. That said, I think there is a lot of opportunity for our legislators to continue to call on the members that they are elected to represent to really engage in the process. I would like to see more constituent services in the legislative process so that we're really ensuring that voices of underrepresented communities like our rural and coastal Oregonians are being heard in Salem. And if elected, that would certainly be a priority of mine. Another thing that I think directly related to my first concern is how we're addressing conversations around climate change. I know that these can be difficult conversations and finding the path forward can be challenging. I think it's important that we acknowledge that climate change is leaving our district vulnerable. And I'd like to see more investments in our future economy so that we can create jobs and be working towards resiliency so that we're prepared for the natural disasters that we continue to see threaten our communities. I think that's really important. One thing I will comment specifically on from this last short session that I'll admit is really disappointing to me is the lack of the legislature as a whole to move the Senate bill forward that would have increased legislative pay. I think it's been unfortunately misrepresented rather, in some ways that it's an effort for legislators just to, raise their own salary, as if that means that there's an effort to really make it a get rich quick scheme or something. And I think it's really important that we acknowledge that the work that the legislators are doing is full-time work. If we're going to engage constituents, if we're going to be on the ground in the communities, if we are going to show up in Salem, and we are really going to do that work, it's not a part-time job. And so paying legislators $20,000 or $25,000 a year and expecting them to do full-time work is really disproportionately limiting the number of people that are able to represent our communities. And I think that's a disservice. That we need more working voices. We need more people that understand the lives of our community members serving in the legislature. And that's really hard for working people to do. So I hope that there's some momentum to change that so that we can diversify the voices in the legislature to truly be a representative government, because I think that's really critical. So that said, I think that there's a lot of great things that have happened and a lot more opportunity to continue the work moving forward. And I hope to be a part of that.
Okay. So I'll just give you an opportunity too here. Is there anything that we've sort of missed in these questions that you think is important to note before we wrap up?
I don't know that there's anything specifically that you miss here. I think this really touches on a lot of the most important parts of why I'm running, and I imagine why other candidates are running as well. I would just share that I think this is a critical opportunity for our district, for the seat. I know that change is hard for a lot of people and it creates a lot of uncertainty. But I just want to share that I'm dedicated and committed, and I'm here to listen and learn from our community. And I will show up for our community members throughout this district, just like I do for my patients every day. And I really look forward to continuing this work through this campaign and hopefully into January of 2023.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for joining us. And again, thank you for running for office, for being willing to put the work in. As you say, the legislature is not particularly well compensated now. So, I know that that's a sacrifice for everyone who serves to put in this kind of work and time and effort. So thank you for that. to make our district and our communities better.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by. Good luck in the campaign, and I'm sure we will talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks.